What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for the day, and we had so many 3 out of 4s yesterday. It was honestly so difficult to see. So many 3 out of 4s happened to us, and yeah, just as the days happen where we hit 2 4-mans or 2 4-mans, as well as like a ton of 2-mans and all this kind of stuff, these days also happen where we just get so close. Obviously, the correlation was definitely there for a lot of these, but we got so close on so many plays, and then they just went 3 out of 4. So we had so many of these 3 out of 4s happen to us where we were just one play away, right? One little person away from hitting. And then we also had a ton of 2 out of 4s too. So one side of the correlation hit and the other side of the correlation kind of went the opposite way of us. So obviously, you guys, correlation works, but it does happen, and that is why I tell you guys that we're not day-to-day thinkers. Even when we come on here and we have insane days, the other day I think we had a 27 unit day. I came on here and I said, hey, I'm not coming on here to tell you guys that we're gonna have 27 unit days every single day, right? So when we had an insanely great day, I told you guys, we're not gonna do this every single day. Over the long term, when we look back on the past month, when we look back on the past 2-3 weeks, month, 2 months, that is when we're going to see our account grow and be very profitable. And it is not really to be day-to-day thinking, right? So I read all of you guys' comments yesterday. I absolutely loved it. Thank you guys so much for all the comments you guys left. And some of the comments were extremely true, and I just loved seeing all you guys at your different stages of growth, right? I saw some comments of like, hey, I just transitioned from $5 units to $10 units with your plays. I saw people that made big life purchases with these plays as well from sports betting, and that is amazing to see. And that is really why I do this, because I want to give you guys back money. I want you guys to make money sports betting, and I want to. That is why I try to be as transparent as possible, as well as do all the hard work to put in the time to find these plays, because that is really what makes me tick. So again, a rough day yesterday. Obviously, like if any of these things would have went differently, I will just say this was the YouTube play, so I'll go over this a little bit. I talked about the LSU USC game. It was it wasn't necessarily a high scoring game, but there was a ton of passing. It was a close game. They were passing up until the end. And LSU, he threw a ton. Lacey pretty much got this projection hit within the first half. And yeah, it was a very, very high, a lot of throwing, not very much defense being played. And then LSU, they just kept passing the ball, as well as USC. So a lot of yards, a lot of receiving yards, and we hit right here. So like I said, correlated up at the top. We didn't necessarily hit, obviously, because we lost, but we took this one at the top and we cashed it. And then this one right here, this was kind of a middle of the road game. So not really a super long game, not really a super short game either. This Owenzanam, I guess is how you say his name. He's actually the worst player on Dusty Roots, and in map 1 he had the most kills. So the worst player on the team got the most kills. It does happen at the end of the day, right? It's just like in the NBA, right? Sometimes the worst player is going to go off and have a 20-30 point game. It does happen, obviously a little bit unlucky, but we can't really get too into it again, right? Really close play here, 1 kill, just like all across the board. Had a lot of these happen, and then this one was also pretty difficult to see because I think his name's Kyle Ford. He needed 1 more reception, and this guy was on the field maybe like 10 snaps. He was on the field like 10 snaps. He got two receptions in those 10 snaps, and then one of the receptions he got was like a 40-yard catch. So I don't know why they didn't utilize him more. But again, his line was pretty low, and he just needed 1 more reception to cash that sleeper play for us. So unfortunate at the end of the day. But again, these days do happen, obviously. So let's talk about this was our past month. So it is now the beginning of September, but the past month of August, we went up 82 units, and we've actually gone up 80 plus units every single month the past 3 months. So I've started tracking my bets very religiously over the past 3 months, just because more of you guys start getting in my VIP, and I was like, hey, it is my responsibility to track this as much as possible. Stop being lazy, track this, and show you guys what you can do. As well as, if people are going to pay me for my bets, I wanted to be as transparent as possible, because there's a lot of people out on the internet that are going to be like, hey, look at, all of these wins we have and stuff, but they won't actually show you at the end of the day how much they've won, right? How much they did in that month, how much they did in the past 3 months. So this is last month what we did. Again, 82 units. If you're just a $5 bettor, you'd be up $440 in 1 month. And again, $5 betting is the minimum that you can bet on PrizePicks even. And this is over, what is that? Maybe like 300, 400 300 bets right here. So I try to send out between like 10 to 12 bets every single day on the VIP. So yeah, 300 bets over 30 days. That's around 10 bets a day right there. So let's go ahead and get into today's plays for the day. So we're going to have a college football one, and then we're going to have a Counter-Strike one. So first play on college football. I really love this play. Obviously, the only game going on today is FSU versus Boston College. And I found a way to actually not payout shift all of this in the same game right here. So you're seeing here, I'm putting $10 to win $100. So no payout shift whatsoever. A lot of my battle trying to do correlation, which a lot of you guys don't understand, is me trying to avoid payout shifts. So I'll get a lot of questions of like, hey, why don't you do 5-mans? Why don't you do 6-mans? You know, 6-mans are more profitable over the long term, which they are very slightly. But the problem is, if you play correlated plays, they'll payout shift you very heavily. If you have 6 players that are all correlated together, they will heavily payout shift you. So 4-mans are the best for correlation. So one of my things, you know, when I find these plays, when I, you know, do my research, is that I would love to take some plays, but sometimes they will payout shift you to 7x, 7.5x, 8x, and I really try to get anything higher than 9x or higher, right? So a lot of people are coming on here and they're trying to you know, do like 8x plays, right? And 8x plays, they're okay, but at the end of the day, you're just going to have to hit at a much higher rate than if you take 1 out of or 10x's, right? Or 9x's, right? Because instead of having to hit just 1 in 10 of them to break even, you're going to have to hit 1 in 8 of them to break even if you just play an 8x, right? So again, you know, I'm very long-term focused. Over a long span of times, I just showed you guys over 300 bets in the past month. But again, this is 10x right here, and I found a way to avoid payout shifting. So payout shifting, avoiding right here by taking the fantasy score. So we got DJ. I honestly don't even know how to say his last name, but DJ, we're going to go over 17.5 fantasy score right here. And then we're going to take Malik Benson to go over 53.5 receiving yards. And then we got Thomas Castanelos to go over 17.5 fantasy score right here. And then Lewis Bond to go over 40.5 receiving yards. So again, if you were to take these quarterbacks passing yards or even passing plus rushing yards, they would payout shift you to 8x, and it would be a lot hard. You know, it wouldn't be very good, because if this all hit, you would only get 8x, right? And now we would get 10x with this entry right here. The reason why I'm taking these mores here is because I think this is gonna actually be a lot closer of a game than people realize. So this is them playing last year, Florida State versus Boston College. I know the teams are different, but if anything, I think Florida State got a lot worse, right? They lost some people to the NFL. They lost Jordan Travis. We just saw them lose last week versus Georgia Tech, which I think is going to probably motivate them a little bit, but still they are not the same team as they were last year at all. And you can see I sorted it by Boston College's stats from last year's game. And Thomas Castanelos played, he got 307 yards passing, and this is what I really like right here, rushing. He was the top rusher, 95 yards rushing and 1 touchdown right there. So 95 yards rushing and 1 touchdown right there alone, just with rushing, that is about 16 fantasy points. So that's about 16 fantasy points, because 10 yards is 1 point, and then a touchdown is 6 right there. So if this guy can run a lot, if this guy can get even a rushing touchdown in this game, his fantasy score is going to go way up. You can see also Lewis Bond. What I don't like is he only got 3 receptions last year, but it was for 80 yards, and he should be higher on the depth chart this year as well. But you can see he got 80 yards, and his line is only 40.5. So again, I think this should be a closer game. I think this should be, you know, a lot of passing going on. The only play that I'm a little bit, you know, back and forth on is Malik Benson to go over receiving yards. I think there's a lot of FSU receivers that he could spread the ball out to, and yeah, you know, I think if anything doesn't hit, it might be this Malik Benson line. But I do think, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to go with his #1 receiver. But yeah, really, why I love this play so much is 1, because it's not payout shifted, and then 2, because this, you know, these fantasy scores I think are really good. So if DJ, if he gets a rushing touchdown, again, if Thomas, if he rushes a ton, he's going to go above his fantasy score as well. We just need these receivers to get a lot of targets and get a lot of action tonight. So this is what I'm locking in for tonight's game. Again, it's correlated because the better the quarterback does, the better the receiver's going to do. It's also correlated with the whole game, right? So if it's a high-scoring game, a shootout, a lot of passing going on, then all of these players are going to be inflated. You know, maybe it even goes into overtime, right? We saw last year was really close. If it goes into overtime, all of these scores and all of these yards are going to be inflated as well. So there's a heavy chance that if one thing happens, it's just a close game, a close battle back and forth, a lot of passing, then all of these things should go green. Okay, so I will say one way to get my VIP completely for free is you can download the Better app. If you're interested in that, just text me the word Better, and this is my number right here on the screen. There's actually going to be, I think they announced there's going to be a Better reduced line every single week of NFL action. So I think I got an email about that yesterday. So definitely download Better because we're going to be taking a lot of Better plays. They send out a ton of promos. So there's going to be, I think it's going to be either a promo or like a free play, which means they just need to get over like 0.5. So they just sent out Mahomes 0.5 completion. So he just needs to complete one pass and you will hit that. So again, if you don't have Better, make sure to get that for the, upcoming NFL season. You just should have more of these apps. If you don't have it, you can text me the word Better at this number right here, and I'll get you a free month of my VIP for doing that. So really easy to get into my VIP completely for free today for doing that. Let's go ahead, get into the last play of the day. It's going to be with Counter-Strike here. If you guys don't know, Counter-Strike, Valorant, League of Legends, those are kind of my bread and butter plays, especially over the summer when we didn't have NFL or college football. And we're taking the lesses right here. So this is correlated based off of game length. So, I try to find correlation every single play. Counter-Strike is extremely correlated, and we're taking the lesses here because if it's a short game, then less kills should happen. If it's a longer game, then more kills should happen. So if it's a long game down to the wire, maybe it goes into overtime, that would mean more kills would happen because there's more rounds to get kills. If it is a shorter game and, one team blows the other team out of the water, the game ends really quickly, then less kills should happen because there's not that many rounds being played in that game. So hopefully that makes sense. Instead of two separate things needing to happen, we just need one thing needing to happen. We need a short game. Again, this isn't going to happen 100% of the time, but you can see even yesterday when we lost all these, we lost all these technically. But right here, down here, I took Valorant right here at this 2-man, took the lesses, it hit. I took Valorant right here at this 2-man, lesses, it hit. I took Counter-Strike right here, took the lesses, it hit. So again, Counter-Strike, you can go back to all my videos. I always play Counter-Strike slips because they're very correlated. So yeah, you guys, these are the plays for the day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.